I was raised by open marriage parents that used me as their perfect family prop, and now they're wondering why I haven't spoken to them in 4 years. I found out when I was around 12 years old that my parents liked to play around, or in blatant terms, they were swingers. I didn't understand what that actually meant until I was 14. I kept my mouth shut about it, focused on myself, and moved out when I was 18. Since then we have barely spoken. I ended up becoming very insecure. I struggled with dating and girls, feeling alone for most of my teenage years, while my mom and dad seemed like a perfect couple and were well liked by everyone. I can only remember how alone I felt during that time, too afraid to speak to my parents about how I felt. They were always smiling and seemed to have the perfect marriage, even though they were seeing other people. Meanwhile, I felt alone and miserable. They used to go on weekend trips, leaving me alone for many weekends. They rarely brought me along for vacations, and even when they did I ended up being on my own. I struggle with depression and am seeing a therapist. I felt like I did not matter to my parents at all and saw no real reason why I should talk to them now. I have not celebrated Christmas with them, nor have I been home since I was 19 because I have nothing but bad memories from living with them. I just felt like I was in the way. I'm not sure what to do because my emotions are all over the place. Update 1. I decided to write a letter to my parents but ended up using it as a reference for what I wanted to say to them instead. I originally planned to drop the letter in their mailbox and let them read it, but I realized I needed to have a conversation with them, so I did. I went home, and to my surprise, Dad and Mom had a friend over, the woman I ran into a few days ago. Let's call her Claire. They were just sitting in the living room talking. I asked Claire politely to leave because I needed to speak to my parents. She agreed and left without argument. Apparently, they were talking about me, and Claire had actually come over because she was worried about me after I basically ignored her the other day. I sat down with my parents, letter in hand, and they understood I had a lot to say. The whole thing felt surreal. I sounded like a prosecutor trying to convince a jury of my parents' wrongdoings. It turned into a 40-minute indictment of my parents. I went through everything, how alone I felt, my struggles with depression, seeing a therapist, feeling since I was 11 that I was always in the way, and that I never mattered to them. I told them that other people were always more important. Claire, who was 25, the same age I am now when she started hanging around, actually cared more about me than they did. I recounted how Dad yelled at me when I messed up the dishwasher settings while they were away. I was 11 and didn't know how it worked. I offered to wash the dishes by hand, which I did. I was bullied in school, socially awkward, had no friends, and was always alone both at school and at home. I was 11 and had to deal with being alone on weekends. Even Christmas was weird and awkward. I remember seeing families light Christmas trees in our street, seeing parents with their kids. But you guys went to your Christmas get-togethers, and only on Christmas Day were you home. I felt alone even then. I have no such happy memories or feelings of belonging. Now you keep asking why I have barely spoken to you for 4 years? I don't know you, and you never bothered to get to know me. Other people were always more important. When I found out and understood what you guys were into, I was even more mad. Why was that more important than me? How is it fair that you are happy while I am alone and miserable? It's not fair because you did this to me. I spent my childhood alone, my teens alone, and so far, my 20s alone. I never had a girlfriend because I struggle to trust people and have no idea how to get close to anyone. You shared a picture of me on Facebook, one of the few of us together from when I was a kid. Claire and your other girlfriend commented on how cute I was and what a great family we were. Notice anything about those pictures? I never smiled. Why did you even have me if I was just a prop to show off to others what great parents you were? Your Facebook profiles make me sick to be honest. Dad wanted to say something, and Mom just looked stunned and teary-eyed. I just got up and left and that was that. I never yelled or called them any names. I was surprisingly calm. I honestly felt numb walking out but also a lot lighter. I left my spare key to their place and walked back to my own. Mom has been texting and trying to call me. I think they are both struggling to figure out what to say to me. I just demanded they remove the pictures of me from their Facebook, which they did. They do not get to pretend to the world that they were great parents anymore and I refuse to be a prop. Update 2. I had a long talk with Mom who actually decided to stop by my place. We talked for almost 3 hours. I decided not to berate her and instead just be honest and explain how my life has been and how I am dealing with a bunch of things. It was as honest as it could get, with me basically just sharing how I was doing. Mom did not realize how bad it was, and she just gave me a hug. I don't know why, but that helped. She was not sure what to say about everything, and I don't really blame her. She asked me to come home for a while, especially at Christmas, so I wouldn't have to sit in my apartment alone. I told her I would think about it. Mom seems to have finally realized that I had been in pain for quite some time, and her recognizing that for me is what I really wanted. It feels like progress but I'm still not sure what the future holds.